Speaking of the Giants.
Yeah.
Yesterday, Joe Schoen, new GM. And before I got to any discussion about their draft picks, and they had some fascinating draft picks that we will discuss in a moment, I wanted to ask him some specific and direct questions about the Daniel Jones option, because I'm still fascinated by the thought process that goes into, he's our guy, this is our guy, you have to have a quarterback, we have a good one. Fifth-year option, I'm kind of full. I'm kind of full from the risotto. Like, no thanks. I don't know how you reconcile the two. I don't know how because if he's your guy, $22 million isn't all that much for one more year. 22 isn't all that much, and if he does really well, you're looking at, I think, $34 million franchise tag next year. So I'm fascinated by the decision to not pick up the option for Daniel Jones. Here's some of the conversation I had yesterday with Joe Schoen about that decision to not extend Jones' contract for one more season.
Yeah, the $22 million. I mean, that's a large number, but again, we're excited about working with Daniel. We're happy where he is. This isn't an indictment on who Daniel is as a person or anything like that. We're really happy with what Daniel's done for us throughout the process when we've had him over the 3 months, getting to know him and being in the building for 4 weeks now and the offseason program. And we like everything he's doing. We're excited to work with him. We just thought that was the best decision right now for where we are moving forward. Again, we're excited to work with him. We've upgraded the offensive line. We like some of the weapons that we have around him. And again, we want to see Daniel be able to put his best foot forward. And I think we've done that this offseason. But that decision was just what was best for us right now.
There was more there, too. I kept after him on a couple of things. And at one point, I asked if it wasn't guaranteed fully at exercise, if this was pre-2020 and it was guaranteed for injury only, would you have picked it up? And I got the feeling he hadn't really thought about that, and he said he didn't want to deal in hypotheticals. And
right.
I think they would have picked it up.
I think so, yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
They did a calculation. And as I've said before, and I've written this at PFT, what they did is they bet against Daniel Jones. We talk all the time about a player who bets on himself. They bet against him. They bet that he's not going to be good enough that they'll say, we're glad we have this $22 million commitment. I also asked him about whether or not they looked at other situations as cautionary tales, whether it's the Browns with Baker Mayfield, the Panthers with Sam Darnold. Do you look back at the Bears with Mitchell Trubisky, who didn't pick up the fifth-year option, and were happy that they didn't because he didn't play well enough in that fourth year for them to even think twice about keeping him around the following season. And he said that really wasn't any of it. Look, they're trying. I also asked him, are you just thinking this is a carrot that you're dangling for him to have a big season? They're happy if he has a big season. Good problem to have. He agreed with me. It's a good problem to have. He said no, he doesn't need the extra motivation. So I'm just fascinated by this because at its core, this is a team that is not willing to bet $22 million on avoiding the possibility of having to pay $34 because they don't think he's going to be good enough that they're going to look at $22 million for 2023 and say, we're happy that that's all we're paying our starting quarterback because $22 million is not that much for a starting quarterback.
All right,
that's
but
what fascinates me
it's in
about
flux. That's where it is. I don't think it's betting against. I think that's a little harsh to say that. They're not betting against the guy. They're running a good business. They're doing something smart.
They're hedging. They're hedging.
Right. Well, listen, it's still $22 million. All right, that's 3 starting players on your team. So you gotta make sure he is that guy to go forward. There are the cautionary tales like you explained. I mean, whether it's
it's going to be 5 starting players on your team if you have to franchise tag him.
Well, okay. All right. Well, they're willing to take that, but they don't know yet. They want him to be that guy. They want him to be the franchise guy and to have to pay him $35 million. That's why they drafted him there. It's a little bit like Jalen Hurts in the discussion, at least in my opinion, of just going, wait, he checks the box in so many areas. And really in some of the areas where we don't check the box, yeah, he's been at fault, but damn, have we and Dave Gettleman done absolutely crap to help him out. So that's where it's like, I don't think they're not even sure how good he can be yet. There's the unanswered part there. And I think that's fair. And I know we've talked about this a lot, you and me, and I know you'd agree with me in a lot of ways. It is. It's hard to get a feel. I know he hasn't been perfect, but it's been 3 offensive coordinators. And as I tell everybody up here in New York, like, it wasn't just a bad offensive line. It wasn't just bad. That's where people are there. Everyone's just like, well, it was a bad offensive line. Like it was one of the 10 worst. No, it was absolutely the worst. Like not even close. There's not another team in the discussion for how bad their offensive line's been the last few years. So that's where, they want him to be the guy. I think. I do. But they got to see, and it's a new coaching staff, and he's got to prove it to them and the new GM, too, that he's the guy, too, there. And I think that plays into the fact also why you don't give him that, guaranteed money 2 years down the road.
I'll be posting after the show the full interview at PFT.
Yeah.
You can find it now, although we would prefer that you not go look for it now at the youtube.com/NBC Sports page. Watch the show. I'll take care of you afterward. I promise. I'll go have my coffee. I got a big sugar cookie my wife bought me the other day. It'll require me to take a nap by 10:30. But before then, I'll post about Shane's comments because he lit up. He lit up when I used the good problem to have phrase.
Right.
If Jones has a big 4th year and they have to deal with it next year. He said it's a good problem to have. You've also got the franchise tag if you need it a year from now. That's a gamble. I'd say it's an $8 million gamble, or you're talking to his representatives and you're trying to get an extension. And he pointed out that Jones is represented by the same guys who represent Josh Allen. So they worked with Josh Allen when Shane was in Buffalo. He believes that they'll be able to work something out long term if Jones has a big year. But here's the reality. Here's how it works. Very simple analysis.
Yeah.
If you have to tag the guy, the tag number drives the contract. The tag number determines what the contract's going to be. That's the starting point.
Yeah.
And if he has a really good year, he may want more than the tag as the starting point. He may say, put me right in the middle of 40 to 50 million. Put me at 45, 43, 42. Who knows? Salary cap keeps going haywire. But I still think he's at $8 million. That would put the franchise tag at 30. Franchise tag for quarterback was 29 this year. There's no way it's only going to be 30 next year because it's driven by the increase in the cap. I think it's going to be 33, 34 million next year. So it's about a $12 million gamble. It's at least a $10 million gamble, and they're happy to lose it.
Right.
They will be thrilled if Daniel Jones plays so well that they got to pay 33, 34 million. But they avoid the problem of a year from now being the team that's trying to offload Daniel Jones and his $22 million fully guaranteed salary like the Browns are trying to do.
Right.
And the Panthers the Panthers aren't even trying. They know there's no point.
Right.
They know we're just keeping this guy.
Right.
No one's touching Sam Darnold for all or part of 18.8, so we're just going to keep it.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And I think that's why it's good business. That's and I understand like it is fascinating because we don't see quarterbacks in this spot that much, and still the vibe and the talk is positive about Daniel Jones out of New York. So I understand how you think it's fascinating because it is. They say all the right things, and then over in this corner you're like, wait, but they're not doing the right thing by him financially. Well, okay, all right. Well, they we explained it. We talked about it. There's issues there, and I think it is smart by them, especially with a new regime in there, to get a feel for the guy and know what he is. I was listening to Brian Daboll yesterday. He was talking about Daniel Jones, and he's still getting a feel for what he likes offensively, and he wants him to have ownership. So they're getting that bond, and then hopefully it shows on the football field. And he can prove he's the guy, or he can get the money, to back up that he's the guy. But I really think just from even being in the Giants building last year for one day during a training camp, talking to a lot of the coaches there over the last 2 years, and they think Daniel Jones is the man in a lot of ways. They really do. So this is a guy that, they're doing this business-wise, but I think they're really rooting for and want him to be the face of their franchise for years to come. And two, I don't think, even if he has an amazing year this year, I don't think it'll be enough still to go, I want $45 million a year or anything like that. I think there's still a line of demarcation there that, you got to go more than just 1 year flash pan thing here to get that kind of money. At least that would be my 2 cents. Yeah, maybe not. I know.
Josh Allen did it in year 3.
Well,
Josh Allen ascended enough in year 3 to get himself to the top of the market. His first 2 years didn't. His first 2 years were better than Daniel Jones' first 3, though.
Thank you. And that's what, and people wait. I hear this a lot, and I'm glad you brought me this. Year 2, Josh Allen threw 20 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, and they went to the playoffs. And he was rushing for. He almost broke the record for 100-yard games rushing in a row as a quarterback. So there's a difference there.
That was rookie year. Second year he didn't have that. That was rookie year.
Either way, second year was 20 and 10, and they went to the playoffs. I know that. So, yes.
But he was really good as a rookie, too.
He was
really good as a rookie.
He was. We saw that. We saw some stuff. Daniel Jones, we're not to that extent. We've seen some stuff here. But now, hopefully, he's got some support and an offensive play caller like Josh Allen did that can put him in a spot to really show all the skills he has, and hopefully can. Where I was getting to as I was blabbering is Daniel Jones is the key to all this. The fact that they know he's mature enough, professional enough, and I think realistic enough to understand the scenario he's in. That's what makes this all possible and be able to be smooth. That's where I was getting to. I'm sorry, I'm blonde. It's early, and I couldn't get to it.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Okay.
Trust me. I've sat here through worse.
Shut up.
Wondering what the hell is he trying to say. But you're right. And they don't think he's going to be flustered by the fact that he's not guaranteed the 5th year. And he said himself he's got responsibility for the way things have gone so far in his career. So they do believe in him, and they have accepted the fact that if he's really, really good this year, it's going to cost them.
Right.
But again, it's a good problem to have. That means they have a great quarterback. If you have a great quarterback, you got to pay a great quarterback. They would rather have a great quarterback and pay a great quarterback than not have a great quarterback and not pay a great quarterback. And what they're trying to avoid is the possibility, and this is where I say they're hedging. They don't want to be in a situation where they don't have a great quarterback, but they're paying $22 million.
Yeah.
That's what they want to avoid. And it's hard to blame them. When you look around at other examples, it's hard to blame them for that. All right.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.